Hello, everyone. My name is Ray Gomez. I'm a business sales coach, serial entrepreneur, real estate investor, and I also am a Cutco Cutlery sales consultant where I bring businesses together by offering them business gift ideas. Welcome to Sell Yourself to Drive Sales, where we help you sharpen your mindset, build better communication skills, and build relationships so sales becomes naturally. To learn more about my sales background, you can visit my website at Gomez, G-O-M-E-S, bpcoaching.com. You can follow us on social media by clicking on the link on our website. Today, we have a very special guest. We have Brad Weiss. He is the CEO of Cabo Ella Group. Brett, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ray. I appreciate you having me on. And I'm sure some people are going to ask, what is Cabo Ella? Well,
Yeah,
very simple. Cabo is my...
I was just about to ask you, tell us a little bit what it's all about.
Yeah, Cabo, this current business that I own and operate, it's been around for about 18 months, but Cabo is my 13-year-old black lab, and Ella is my daughter Kendi's middle name. So
okay.
That's where that came from. I mean, after the fact, I got this other dog, Winston. Come here. I got another dog, Winston. So the next company I set up, come on, say hello. Come here, say hello real quick. The next company will have to put Mr. Winston involved. So
nice. So that's where you come up with your names, huh?
Yeah, that's where I came up with that name. You know, I'll be honest with you, I'm not the most creative person in the world. I just know how to get things done. And I'm like, you know what? What's something that has a meaning to me? And obviously my dog and my daughter have special meaning to me, and they're always by my side through these turbulent times, good or bad, as you know.
Yeah. So speaking about now with everything that's going on, how's business going on your end?
You know, I'm very fortunate, Ray. You know, we during our previous discussions, I've been a serial entrepreneur since I was a little kid. So
right.
I don't know anything. When there's roadblocks, you go ahead. This is just another little roadblock, obviously a bigger roadblock than most people have anticipated. But so far, so good. Things are still progressing, you know, due to the nature of my business, which is really health and wellness and focus on the CBD space. People are, I would lean to say that over the last, 4 weeks since the lockdown started in the majority of the states, that people are looking at their daily rituals and daily habits and adopting some healthier alternatives.
Right.
And so from the CBD space, it's a product that's been around for thousands of years and helps in a lot of the issues that we're all foreseeing these days, which is anxiety, stress, sleeplessness, sleepless nights. A lot of people are obviously trying to get a little healthier these days with walking, working out on a daily basis. So their bodies are probably a lot sore than they're used to because they're working out and working with muscles that they probably haven't used for who knows how long. So
especially
as I said,
with people with stress right now. I know some people are getting laid off. Some people at home. There's a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. So
yeah, it's a great product. I'd rather, a lot of people cope with things in different ways, whether they want to get drunk, whether they want to get high, whether they exercise. But, with my product mix of CBD, it's a natural, a natural ingredient. It's grown in the ground, and it really helps with what you just talked about, stress and anxiety and not sleeping and anti-inflammation. And I can go on and on about the benefits of utilizing CBD in a daily ritual and your lifestyle. And so I haven't seen much of a slowdown. I've actually seen a little bit more of an uptick, and I'll relate that to a lot of people being home and on social media and browsing the internet and don't have a lot of time. So I've always been one to essentially put myself out there. I'm not afraid. What you see is what you get. If you don't like it, part of my friends, just not my fucking problem.
Yeah.
But you got to be out there on a daily basis, whether it's during the good times or the bad times. I mean, you and I know from your background in sales. I mean, it's all about communication. It's all about developing relationships through the good times and the bad times. So, I'm still smiling as you see in my T-shirt, and
I love it.
I'll get your address afterwards. I'll get you and your wife out a little care package as well.
So how did you come up with that name, curious.
Well, so that's great. So just to backtrack, when as I said, I started the company 18 months ago, and the
Okay.
initial company name was called Swell CBD, SWELL CBD, and I was doing it for about 9 months, and unfortunately, I was not able to trademark Swell CBD because you actually can't trademark CBD names as of yet. So I had built a pretty significant business, had about 250 locations throughout the U.S., anything from pharmacies to chiropractors to smoke shops to distributors, wholesalers. And then last May, I got a letter in the mail from a local brand called Swell Coffee. There was like a one-off coffee shop, and they saw that I had actually come out with a CBD coffee product, and they said, well, we need to get, either you cease and desist or you pay us. So
Yeah.
I could have fought them and gone through the challenges and done that, but, it kind of gave me a refocus at that time. So we round table with my sister and my other
That kind of lost you there. Can you still hear me?
All right, I'm back. I lost you.
Yeah. You were talking
Yeah, I'm
about
back.
you're talking about your
Yeah.
sister.
So I got a cease and desist. So we're like, okay, what do we want to do? So I wanted to come out with a brand that really, when somebody looks at it, they want to smile. So my sister actually has had the license plate smiling for the last 10 years. We're both ex Grateful Dead fans. Yeah, so we're both ex Grateful Dead fans, and there's one of the songs. It says nothing left to do but smile, smile, smile. So we decided to rebrand the Swell CBD to the Smile and Wellness line, and here we are. We launched Smilin' back in October,
Okay.
and things obviously going into the holiday season, things are a little tough, and obviously we know what's happened this year, but there's only one thing I can do and you can do every day, and that's smile. You have no
You
other
got that?
choice. As we talked about it before, either you take one step forward or you take two steps backward, and I keep going forward regardless of the roadblocks and obstacles that are in front of me.
Yeah. So speaking of roadblocks, let's go back a little bit before speeding your early age, right? When you starting
Yes.
working. Can you tell us more about the process of like what small jobs you started doing, and then how
For
your
sure,
rise,
for
your
sure.
rise.
Yeah. Where I grew up in a family business. My mom, my father, and his brother and two first cousins have owned car washes for the last 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I was born and raised in Arizona. I'm living in San Diego now, but at the age of at the young age, I didn't know anything different. My dad would go to work. He'd work Monday through Saturday. He would even come to my football games on Saturday, but he was in control of his own destiny. He was his boss. So I'm like, wow, I don't know. My dad didn't go work for somebody 9 to 5, didn't get a paycheck. It was all driven upon what he did and how hard he worked. So I actually, at the age of 10, I went and I used to ride my bike about 1.5 miles to school. And before I go to school, I'd stop at Dunkin' Donuts. I'd get a dozen donuts. And then I'd stop at Walgreens and I get orange Tic Tacs. And before the bell rang, I had $20 in my pocket. So I mean, literally, so I would do two things as like a fifth grader. I would sell Tic Tacs, I would sell donuts, and I don't know if you remember, but how old are you, Ray?
I'm about I just turned 32. Gosh, time
Are you
flies, man.
sure? Are you sure? Are you
I
sure
am
you're
sure
32?
32, but I don't feel 32. I'm like, wow, I
Yeah,
feel like I'm older, but yeah, I'm
yeah,
32.
yeah. So another thing that I used to do back in the day, and obviously I'm a little bit older than you. I'm 48, but we used to be able to buy pencils that were branded with the NFL teams and the Major League Baseball teams.
Yeah,
Well, I used to gamble at school. I'd roll pencils and win money from kids, and I get sent to the principal's office every once in a while. But,
right.
back to that was kind of where my entrepreneurism started. It was like, you got to do what you got to do. And I rode my bike 1.5 miles to school and got the Tic Tacs, got the donuts, gambled the pencils, had $20 in my pocket. Before the bell rang, I'm like, I could leave school. I'm like, I'm the richest kid in school. And I just sold
Exactly.
donuts. I just sold an item that everybody needs, just like you with Cutco and some of your other
Yeah,
stuff. You
yeah.
find it an essential item that most people need, whether it's good times or bad time, you keep plugging away. So that's where I really learned my entrepreneurism and keeping moving forward. as a 10, 11-year-old, I used to actually take the bus a mile and a half, and I'd go work my dad's car wash on the weekends. And if people know, Phoenix is hotter than it's 100 plus. So here I was, out in the streets on a blacktop, which usually got to about 120, 130 degrees. It was me, and my dad had a lot of Hispanic workers, and they're some of the best workers in the world. They don't complain; they just do their job. And here I was, this, I don't want to say token, but I was the boss's kid.
Yeah.
I was the token white guy, but I was just doing what everybody else was doing, which was wiping cars, taking claim checks, cleaning cigarettes out of the ashtray, doing the tires. So I didn't know any different. I mean, even to this day, I have people ask me, dude, why do you work so hard? I said, what do you mean? I said, I don't know any different. I don't know how to take the pedal off the gas. If I have to do something at midnight, I have to do something at 6 a.m. You just keep plugging away. You keep going forward. And, that's really what's attributed to my success, is the work ethic that I was able to develop and see as a young kid through my family. I was very fortunate, don't get me wrong, but I also wasn't handed things on a silver plate. If I wanted something, I had to work for it.
Yeah. And I think that creates discipline because, in tough times like this, it shows you how you can go out there and make something out of nothing.
Exactly.
You brought me back a little bit. I remember when I was a kid, I was delivering newspapers while going to school at the same time, and I had 4 jobs on top of that, and I was grinding, and I was taking 24 credit hours doing all of that, and it made me tougher today. And I'm just like you. I'm like, what's next? Like, give me something. What's next, right?
Exactly. One of the, you and I think are very similar, Ray. I mean, one of my mottos that you can ask any of my close family members or friends is I always throw a lot of shit on the wall.
Yeah.
And some stuff will stick and some won't. But if you don't continually throw stuff on there, eventually everything's going to dry up. And they're going to be like, what's next? So I've always had a keen sense of what's going on or what's going to happen in the future. We can go back. So obviously I sold Tic Tacs. I sold donuts. I went, I rolled pencils. I worked at my dad's car wash. I graduated from high school. I went to school down in University of Arizona. So I was a wildcat. Down there, I had the best 4.5 years of my life. I took classes. I partied a little bit. I won't lie. I also one of the greatest experiences of my life was back in 1992. I was able to go on a program called Semester C, where I actually lived on a cruise ship. I traveled the world with 300 college students. I took college level classes, and I basically, it opened my eyes to the world. I mean, obviously growing up, and obviously you grew up over in, I think, Philippines or Vietnam, we were talking about.
Malaysia. Yeah, Malaysia.
Yeah. So, being based in the U.S., it's all you know. You hear, you see, you read. Even back then, it wasn't like we have it now with the internet and everything, but you still live in kind of a bubble. You don't really realize how good you have it here. Even living here in San Diego, I have it better than 99.9% of the world, and so do you, because I can go 30 minutes south of the border to Tijuana, and you want to see how life can really be bad. So being on Semester C, I basically I started in the Bahamas, went to Nassau, Venezuela, Brazil. I was actually in Venezuela after 3 days after I left is when the first coup happened back in Venezuela, revolution, way back in 92. But Venezuela, Brazil, South Africa, Kenya, India, Malaysia. I've actually been to Langkawi Island. Have you been to Langkawi Island?
Oh my gosh, that's like the spot in Malaysia. I recommend anyone who wants to go on a honeymoon or vacation in Malaysia, like if you don't hit Langkawi, like you just wasted your vacation.
It was we were there for 5 days. I had a hut on the beach with all my friends, and we just had a great time. So
Malaysia, did you see the giant eagle statue back then in Langkawi?
You know what? I hate to say this. I have a very good memory, but I forgot. But there's probably a good reason. It wasn't those sober of times when I'm in college, traveling the world, and I'm on a beach, drinking Mai Tais and who knows what else. So, but I was able basically to see the world. One of the greatest experiences of that was during my travels from South Africa or from Brazil down to South Africa. It was a 7-day cruise. We actually had Archbishop Desmond Tutu on our boat with us. So he spoke, and I got to shake hands with him. He was a Nobel Peace Prize winner way back in the day. So I was able to interact with people of a higher, status than me.
You're right.
Nobody's different. We're all the same. Some people have just, done some stuff that others haven't. But seeing that, going to South Africa, seeing the rich, the poor in the townships.
Yep.
Another really eye-opener during my trip was going to India. And me and two friends flew to Calcutta. And Calcutta is where Mother Teresa's first orphanage was. So
Mm-hmm.
going to India, I think out of all the places that I visited way back then, was probably the most eye-opening experience, because on the street you have people literally begging for money, for food. And
Yep.
I specifically remember this one guy. He had no arms, no legs, and a soup can under his chin, just sitting
Wow.
there. But that was his life. He knew no different. He didn't complain. He just did what he had to do. So I learned at a very young age, growing up with my family, going to travel, that, you don't complain. Just because you're born with a silver spoon in your mouth, or you're born with a family that's healthy, or born with a family that has a business, you know what? Life is not fair for anybody, but you got to keep smiling. You got to keep pursuing. You got to keep pushing. I know your story a little bit. You were sleeping in the car, wasn't it? Sleeping
Yeah.
for Christmas a couple years ago.
I was sleeping in the car, and I also have a C4, C5 nerve damage in my neck, so I could barely move. I had a lower
Yeah,
back problem. I couldn't, like, I had to
yeah,
do what I had to do. And it's funny you brought that up with this whole coronavirus being locked down. I actually
yeah.
went back to 2008 when I couldn't move for 6 months, and I said, "What did you do to get back
Uh-huh.
up?" And I
Yeah,
said, "Well, you did push-ups, right? And then you did sit-ups." So I recreate that
yeah,
moment now, and I was like, "Oh, you did 10 push-ups
yeah.
first week, keep going." But I mean, it's amazing. Like, like I was interviewing someone earlier, and I said, whatever problems we're going through, there's so many people who's going 10 times worse than where we are.
Oh, you always have to remember that.
And they're not making excuses too. Like they keep
Nope.
finding a way to keep moving forward.
The one word in the English dictionary that I despise starts with an E and ends with an S. You know what that is? Excuses.
Yeah.
So, you got to keep plugging forward. Again, just because I have a nice business and I've got a healthy daughter, I've got a close-knit group of friends, doesn't mean that I don't have my down days and my up days,
Right.
that I'm not struggling, you know. But as long as you keep a positive attitude and keep plugging forward and building relationships and treating people with kindness and respect, I mean, that's the name of the game of life. Whether it's sales, whether it's life, that's just what it is. I mean, I've been very fortunate, Ray. I mean, since a young age, I connect with people, whether it's my charming, magnetism, my handsomeness, my laughter, I have,
I think it's more about what you believe in yourself. I believe that you
yes, it's
you
all
take
about
care of
belief.
yourself. You took care of yourself. You felt like,
Yeah,
hey, if I'm
yeah,
gonna take care of myself, people are gonna see it, right? And
exactly. It's
and
all about confidence.
yeah, and you gotta believe in yourself first before you can go out there and try to maneuver. Because
Yeah.
whatever you think and hear, it shows. It's just a mirror, and the more you try to
Oh,
fake
it
it,
is.
the worse
Yeah.
it's gonna make for you.
Yeah,
Uh,
no. You can control everything with your thoughts in your mind. I truly believe it, and it's really internally, it's how you believe in yourself. Again, I'm not a Matthew McConaughey. I'm not the most interesting man in the world, but I believe that what I have to offer people like yourself, my daughter, other people, is it's a belief system. It's confidence, that you got to be confident in who you are and what you have. Whether you're good looking, whether you're not good looking, it doesn't matter. It's all from the heart. It's all from a belief system of how you pursue and how you treat people. I mean, that's really it at the end of the day. I mean, one of the things that I learned, going back to my car wash years, that my dad always said to me, is like, my dad, when they started back in the Valley, Phoenix, years ago, they were one of the only outfits. When they sold out 20 years ago to a big operation, there was tons of customer or competition. But the one thing he always stressed to me that I talk about right now with anybody is customer service.
oh yeah.
Other people gave a better car wash than him, but you know what? They didn't give him any better customer service. And that's really what I truly believe in. Unfortunately, this phone right here, I love it and I hate it, Ray, because it's on 24/7. I actually, I'm always accessible. I
Yeah.
mean, plain and simple. You want me, if I don't shut my phone off and turn the ringer off at nighttime, I'll get pinged. And if I wake up, I'll answer you. And
Right.
that's one of the things is I try to respond to pretty much everybody, whether it's email, text, voicemail, within 24 hours. Unless I'm
Yeah.
on my deathbed, there's no excuses. It takes you 2 seconds, and it's one of my biggest pet peeves in life. It takes you 2 seconds to respond to a text. Hey, I'm busy. I'm working. I'll get
Right.
back to you. Or email. And you know what, Ray? Most people don't do that.
Yeah.
They just ghost you and let you go, and you're like, what's this? So that's just not how I live my life. I read something probably about 15 years ago about Mark Cuban, and it really sat into me, and I try my best. The guy gets like 5,000 emails a day, and he supposedly responds to every single email personally.
Yeah.
And that really just shows you the level of attention that it takes to be successful. It's those
Absolutely.
little things. It's the little things in life. I've really stressed to my daughter.
Yeah.
There's basically, I call it, one of my other businesses, electronic cigarettes, and we can talk about that if we want. But I learned this. I call it the 13 words of mojo. And I believe if you live by these 13 words in life, you'll be okay. Are you ready for this? Because this is a good one.
Let's go for it. Go for it.
So it's great. It's please, hello, thank you, goodbye, you're welcome, I love you, and unfortunately, sometimes you got to say go f yourself. So, but I think if you live by those words, and I've seen it true. My daughter's just turned 13. When she was 8 or 9 years old, I would be with friends and adults. We'd be out buying, and she'd say please and thank you and you're welcome. And I remember just seeing people like, what? What is this little girl doing? It's all about manners. It's all about treating everybody the way you want to be treated. And those are the words. Forget the last 4 that I said, but those words are standard in our English dictionary. And if you just smile at somebody, you say hello and thank you, goodbye, you're welcome, I love you. Guess what? It's going to elevate who you are and where you're going to be. I truly believe.
And that actually separates from having someone on a short-term relationship and a long-term relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that in many cases, salespeople, they want that quick fix. They want a quick income, the commission. So they create a small term, but they forget that if they create that long-term relationship, more clients are going to come because people trust you and they're going to help you build your business.
It's great that you just brought that up. So back in 2005, I got into the restaurant business.
Mm-hmm.
I was a developer and a franchisee for a concept called Extreme Pita, which is a pita bread. Basically, it was a healthy concept. I brought it to San Diego. It's from Toronto. And actually, my grand opening, I had who's still a friend of mine who actually reached out to me yesterday. It's where this conversation is going. His name is Vincey Glenn. He's an ex-NFL player, played for the Vikings, played for the Giants, played for the Chargers, played for, I think, the Bears. Anyway, we've communicated off and on, but in 2005, we became buddies, and I see him maybe once a year, text every other year. I saw him about 3 months ago, and he hit me up yesterday, and we picked it back up, and he brought me an opportunity. He said, hey, I've got something I want to talk to you about. So just what you said, yes, most salespeople are, it's like, what can I get right now? And then I'm moving on to the next person. But you know what? The good person is going to go, what can I get right now? But what can I get in the future? Let me cultivate this relationship. Let me keep it going long term. One of my biggest strengths is, my friends can tell you, is I keep my friends together. I've got friends, my daughter's getting bat mitzvah in August, and we had to put together a list. And I had a list of 75 people. And my daughter and her mom and my sister said, who are all these people? I said, honestly, these are people from first grade through high school, through college, through semester C, through after school. These are people that I have communicated and I continue to communicate with on a monthly basis. They're my friends. Whether I do business with them or not, I've cultivated this relationship that if I need something, I'll ask them. I mean, I've been, one of my biggest strengths in life is connecting people. And if you ask me today, hey, Brett, can you get me XYZ, Pop Rocks or whatever it is?
Mm-hmm.
I would probably say, Ray, give me 2 seconds. Let me see. Oh yeah, boom. I know, for whatever rhyme or reason, I know somebody who does everything.
Right.
Whether they do this or that, but that's just because I've been able to cultivate relationships, and it's not a one-time deal. It's I want to learn about you. I want to know what your birthday is. I want to know what kind of food you like to eat, where you like to vacation. You got to build that rapport with that customer, and most of my customers have become friends of mine over time.
Absolutely.
Because I treat them with kindness and respect, and they trust what I say, and I can pick up the phone and say, hey, I need something. They're like, what do you need? I'll drop the ball. And it's my same way I'll give anything. I mean, I'm a, you know, one of my biggest, I wouldn't say a flaw is I'm a giver. I like to give to people that are less fortunate than me. I always have, I always will. I give back, you know, I will never take money out of my pocket that will, you know, affect my family. But if I can afford $300, like the last 2 weeks, I've, one of my good friends is a head nurse at one of the hospitals here. I've fed their staff the last 2 weeks, like 15 pizzas each week.
Yeah.
Those are the little things in life. And I think you can attest, being, you know, from the Cutco world, those are the little things that make a difference.
Absolutely. I mean, with my clients, I reach out to them every month, just saying, "Hey,
Yeah.
how are you? How things is going? What's new?"
Yeah.
And you know, you brought a good thing about money too. Like money, if you know how to use money wisely, there's so many
Yeah.
people you could help. You know, there's some people who are making money, but they're not investing the right way. But
Exactly.
but when you have money, it opens opportunity for you to give back, right?
Oh,
And
it's
someone like you, I mean, you didn't just make money overnight. You actually went out there, you found a way, and then you know that pain or that relief, and now
yeah.
you'll be able to give back.
Yeah, yeah, you know, you hit it on the spot. I mean, yes, I've been successful a lot of my lifetime, but I'll be honest with you, yeah, I graduated college. I lived in Costa Rica. I lived in Aspen. I went back into the, you know, at 24, moved to LA. I was in the working world. I was making, from the age of 24 to 27, I was making $150,000, $200,000. This is 20 years ago.
Right.
That's great. But then I went through probably a 10-year period where I was making $30,000 a year. But you know what? It was okay. I was building to where I am now. And it
Exactly.
wasn't, you know, and 5 years ago is when I started my last company. Is, you know, it took about 2 years of doing that, working. I had a retail establishment for the electronic cigarette world, and I worked it every single day with my partner. But we didn't make much money.
Right.
About, you know, back in 15 is when it really started to get to that next level, to allow me to see the fruits of my labor, everything I worked for. And now, hey, yeah, if I could help out somebody who's going through some tough times, I'll do it in a heartbeat. I mean, that's a good thing and a bad thing about me, but I love to do it. That part of me, that gets me off more than anything, Ray. I love my dog,
Absolutely.
but if I can, for instance, like one of my, I got a cousin actually in Arizona who's a teacher. She teaches in a very low income area in Arizona, and she called me last week. She's like, "Hey, Uncle Brett, do you have any old iPads or anything?" And I'm like, "I think I do." And then, you know, I'm like, you know what? Let me look. So actually, I bought her and her kids, very low poverty level kids. I bought them 7 Kindles the other day, and they sent me this. You could look on my Facebook page. They sent me this cool video last night. You could just see the smiles that I was able to bring to these kids. They don't have anything. Nobody does this for them, but that is, to me, I would never give that up. And if I'm able to do it forever, I will continue to do it forever. I'm just who I am. Again, I'm not a Bill Gates. I don't have millions and millions to give away, but I do think do
But
my
it's
own thing.
something. You're starting at something, and you get
Exactly.
and a lot of you out there are listening right now. You know, you just got to start somewhere. You got to make the
Exactly.
effort to start somewhere. So
Yeah.
Brett, moving forward before you know, before we go, for those of them who are just starting in sales or really don't understand that sales equals income or sales
Yeah.
equals freedom, right?
Yeah.
Why is sales so important to learn now moving forward? And you know, what steps can they take right now just to get started
Well,
at least?
yeah, to get started, you know what? Here's the thing. You're going to have rejection. That's just the way life is. Whether it's sales, whether it's a marriage, whether it's in a sporting event, you have to learn how to deal with rejection, because that is life. We are all rejected at some point. And just like, you know, I've done an event 2 years twice out of the last 2 years with Jesse Itzler. I hiked a mountain. It's called 29029. It's this Everesting. And I remember the first event I was at, he's like, you know what? You have one choice. You see a mountain, you climb it. Put one foot in front of the other. You got to keep moving forward. And life is about sales. Life is about cultivating relationships, because you and I know, Ray, you have no idea who you're going to come in contact with. And you're
Yes.
always selling yourself. You're always selling yourself. Whether I have a phone or I have a tincture or I have a pen, you are selling yourself. So everybody is involved in sales at some point in their life, because they've got to sell themselves to a landlord. They got to sell themselves to a mate. They got to sell themselves to their children. They got to sell themselves to a pet. So we all have sales traits. Some people get it. Some people don't want to do it, but we all have to do it. It's just part of
Absolutely.
life.
Hey,
Sales is part of everyday life for everybody.
and you're always being recruited. You are always being recruited. So how you carry
Exactly.
yourself, what you post on social media. I mean,
Yep.
that's the new resume, right? Social
It
media is
is.
the new
It is.
resume.
Yeah. I mean, I've got to be careful because I get a little goofy on social media. But you know what? I'm also like, I'm a real person. I'm just like you.
Yeah.
I'm not a stuffy CEO. I like to have fun. I like to drink tequila. I like to go on hikes. I like to do this. What you see is what you get. I'm really no different than you. You cut me, Ray, and I cut you. Guess what comes out? Red blood out of both of
Yep.
us. So we're no
Absolutely.
different. We are no different than anybody else in this world. And you've
Yeah.
got to remember that, always be thankful for who you are and what you have and go from there, and people who you get a chance to meet with. And I, appreciate Zach introducing us, and, who knows where this goes, but you never know. There's one thing I always tell my daughter: if you don't ask a question, you don't get an answer. So no question is a stupid question.
Absolutely. It's funny. I just interviewed Zach yesterday too. We were
Oh, did
talking.
you? Okay.
Yeah, and Zach and I will. Gosh, it's almost a year, and it's just creating that relationship moving
Yep.
forward.
Yep.
I'm glad that we got a chance to speak and having
Yep.
this conversation. And like you said, opportunities are out there. When,
Exactly.
where we don't know, we
Yep.
may know, but at least we have that connection, right?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
so,
You never know who you're going to meet, where it's going to go, and again, I appreciate the opportunity, and if
How
there's
how
anything
how
you
how can people on my viewers get in touch with you if they're interested to get to know more about your products, what you service?
So there's two easy ways. You can go to my website, www.smilingwellness.com, SMILYN wellness.com. I'm on Facebook. If you want to reach me on Facebook, Ray and I are friends. You can ping me. If you really want my cell phone number, ask Ray. He'll give it to you. I'm an open book. I really am. I mean, if you need something, ask me. Just don't take advantage of me because I'll probably give it to you if you ask me for it. So,
Just
but
don't be
I'm a,
texting him
yeah,
24/7,
exactly,
even
exactly.
though he might answer. So just
Exactly. Have
yeah,
some consideration and be nice. And so
yeah.
yeah, again, anything you need, Ray, please let me know. And I appreciate the opportunity to be on your podcast. And
Awesome. Hey, we
we'll see
might
what
we
happens.
might we might meet up because I plan on being in LA in November for JT Fox, my partner. He hosts a 5-day event with a lot of
Perfect.
celebrities. So maybe we can meet up there. San
Yeah,
Diego is
yeah,
not too far.
100%. Yeah, I'm about 2 hours away. I would
Yeah,
definitely love that. So.
I was in San Diego 2 years ago. Really enjoyed it. So
Yeah, no, San Diego. It's today it's actually sunny, but we've had like 15 out of the last 20 days has been raining here. So
wow.
thank God today it's sunny. I mean, it's basically sunny like 340 days a year, so I
Yep.
shouldn't complain. But when I have 15 out of 20 days of rain, it weighs on me. I won't lie,
Yeah.
But now, even through the rain and the sun, I keep smiling, my friends. So
There you go. Keep smiling.
yeah,
Remember, guys, keep smiling. If no matter what your circumstances is right now, there's always opportunity. You just gotta
yeah,
think positive. You gotta go get it. And what Brett said, reach out to people that can help you get where
yeah,
you want to be. Surround yourself with good people. So
yeah.
hope you enjoyed this episode of Sell Yourself to Drive Sales. Thank you again, Brett, for being on the show.
Thanks,
And
Ray. Appreciate it.
no problem. And yep, we'll catch up for the next. And obviously, for those of you who are listening to Millionaire Flakes, you can listen to my previous show. Invite your friends, get Millionaire Flakes. Everything you want to know about sales, marketing, branding is all on here. This is why I partner up with the world's #1 business coach, so I can bring Brett online and help him build his connection as well. At the end of the day, we are all family. We are all united as one. So,
Awesome. Thanks, Ray. Have a
all right,
great day, my friend. We'll
you
talk
too.
soon. Okay,
All
bye
right.
bye.